Thanks, Lee Carl from St. Thomas. And yesterday it was all about to borrow or not to borrow. And that was the question posed to the Virgin Islands senators. Yesterday we showed Sammy Sanis, who was for the bill. And now we give you the other side of the story. Here's Terrence Positive Nelson with Wes Small.
Yes, to borrow or not to borrow, that's the question. Now, you might remember yesterday we talked to Senator Samuel Sanis, and he voted for the borrowing measure. Also, we took it to the streets, and that was pretty much 50-50. But Senator Nelson, he got in a little late yesterday, so now it's his turn to sound off, I guess. Well, you don't represent the other senators that said no. You're representing yourself, I would imagine. Why did you say no against the borrowing?
I am representing the voice of the people of the Virgin Islands. I believe the people of the Virgin Islands are aware that there's a lot of waste in government. There's a lot of unnecessary expenditures in government. There's also an unrealistic picture being painted to us because if we are in financial straits, there should have been actions taken which represents this, and many people are popular with saying things about pay cuts, and all those can be part of a package. But until we venture down to take measures to curtail spending, borrowing is only a very temporary, what appears to be a fix. What it really is, though, is a cancerous growth that's gonna grow, because when that money runs out, you're left with a bigger indebtedness.
Things that I wanted to jump on. Number one, I've heard you senators talk before about we're tired of paying rent. And a lot of people I talk to in the streets say the same thing. Why do Virgin Island government agencies, like Human Services or Consumer Affairs, what have you, why are we housed and paying rent? I think that the GERS building in Orange Grove is a great example of moving in the right direction. I believe that other government agencies will be in that, so we could stop paying the landlord rent. Is that what you're alluding to in one of the...
Well, when you hear me talk about efficiency in public services, I do believe that we can spend our money in a lot more efficient manner, meaning get more for our buck. The government have many buildings, as you know. If the buildings aren't appropriate, we have the resources to construct a facility to house multiple department agencies to reduce our overall costs. On top of that, that building also becomes an asset to government now, because you put some more appreciation in it by refurbishing, or even if it's a new construction.
Yes.
I do believe the whole, and what sort of gets me even as we sat down to discuss this borrowing and the comments being made, is we know full and well that the individuals who have managed our resources and have reported to us what our resources are have taken advantage of the vulnerability of the Virgin Islands Treasury. Okay. And I do believe that, and it's my claim here today that I believe some of the flaws in the accounting system and the non-implementation of proper immediate reporting is intentional to allow this. And at some point, I believe we need to stop playing games with the people. I believe the people are willing to face and bite the bullet if they believe that we are in such dilemma.
As we wrap this up, again, Senator Sanis voted yes. Senator Positive Nelson voted no. Now I'm going to ask them this. Would you be willing to take a pay cut to save government workers' jobs?
That's an easy answer. Not only will I be willing to pay a pay cut, if I was to become governor, I'll decrease the salaries that we pay commissioners. My commissioners will have to know that going in. We have to represent public service, and government salaries do not represent public service. I'm willing to do that, but it has to be a systematic application, I believe, to occur. But we all should be willing to, if we want to represent that. Our salaries are way beyond what the average is.
That's a yes. And Senator Sanis.
As you know, Wes, I've spoken about this many times. I do believe that we need to do a paying decrease across the board. We really do. Many companies in the private sector, take for instance Chrysler, when Lee Iacocca came, he took a pay cut, even though he was rich beyond means. Yes. But still, it's just a symbolic gesture that we have to show to the people of the Virgin Islands that we are willing to do whatever it takes to save our economy.
Thank you. So, one says yes, one says no, but they're both willing to do what it takes to save the VI economy. I want to thank both senators with that. And that borrowing bill, I'm sure it's going to be talked about today on the talk shows in the newspapers and tomorrow as well. I'm Wes Small for News Channel 8.
Thanks, Wes Small. When we come back from this break, we'll take a look at a celebration at Vialco. Stay with us.